If you like to snack and thinking of what can be a cheap, very healthy, very tasty, easily accessible snack, this is for you. Fry some chopped up onions and some crushed ginger and some sprouted chickpeas or Bengal grams or whatever. I'm going to put more chickpeas into it. And once it is cooked, put some you put some spices, and my spices today will be two spice, which is my favorite spice while doing snacks type of stuff. Yes, you guessed right. This is a jaljeera masala, ready-made premixed. You can also fry the dry whole seed and crush it into a crusher like this, blender, mixer, whatever you want to call it. The main ingredient of this is black pepper, cumin, coriander, ginger, and clove. Okay, all are very good adaptogen to modulate your immune system. As salt, we will be using black salt or sea salt, black salt combination. It reeks of smell of sulfur, and sulfur is very good for us, as you know. So compared to the standard salt, which is bad salt, although I will use it from time to time because sometimes I don't get hold of this salt. This is called anti-caking agent, so that it falls freely, and the anti-caking agent our gut bacteria do not love. They would rather like this kind of salt. If you can't get hold of this is available in on Indian grocery shop. You can just replace with rock salt or pink salt. You have to also remember this is quite high in carbohydrate because of this chickpeas. However, the benefit is that this carbohydrate is laced or mixed with a lot of fibers. So as a result, it is way better than a standard white carb like bread or pizza or pasta or rice or chapati or parathas. So you think that in the morning having breakfast cereal or bread and toast and jam is healthy. It is absolutely not, because once the bread doesn't have any fiber, almost, even if you go for whole meal, almost nothing compared to this. And second, the jam that you're putting on, my mother-in-law loves to put jam on it. That is bad because this is very often not pure jam. To make it sweet, the manufacturer will add a very cheap, very sugary tasting corn syrup, which is fructose, pure fructose. And fructose our body cannot handle, and one of the commonest cause to cause increase in the liver fat. So be careful what you're having as snacks or as breakfast, and always vary your breakfast. And in fact, you should not break your fast, i.e. have breakfast until a long time has passed after your last meal. So if your last meal my last meal is 9, but I know somebody will have the last meal at 6 p.m. So wait for 12 hours, which is 7. If it's 6 p.m., then wait for 12 hours is 6 a.m. That's your 12 hours. And if you can push it to 16 hours, that is the best, intermittent fasting. And if you can't, at least push to 12 hours or 13 or 14, So fasting has got so many longevity benefits and health benefit and cancer prevention benefit and all that. However, if you are already undernourished, meaning your body mass index is lower than it should be, then obviously you shouldn't fast. Not as a kind of belly fat reduction mechanism. However, you can fast at the same time. The rest of the meal has to be optimally looked at and carefully engineered by someone, preferably who is a nutritionist slash doctor slash dietitian, because you need to meet your protein need and caloric need while having the benefit of fasting. Now, some of the dietitian I know, they are quite kind of concerned about the word fasting, because most of the patient they see is actually malnourished, and almost all of them will be more in danger if they do fasting rather than eat properly. And when they eat properly, be careful to feed them a nutritious meal rather than a carb-laden meal, because pure carb or even pure protein without any exercise, you will not build muscles, you will build more and more fat. Yes, your body weight will go up, but you are not in any advantageous position, because for survival we don't need fat mass, we need muscle mass. So whenever you get a chance, you do strength training with your positive calorie, positive nitrogen balance. You need to do some strength. I know you might say that my patient cannot do any strength training. Actually, everybody can. Sitting down in a chair and standing up 20 times is a strength training for your lower limbs. And consider the big muscle group, which is your buttocks, which is your legs, which is your chest, and your latissimus. So make some pushing movement, pulling movement for your upper body. Pushing movement, the commonest is push-up, but I know when you're very weak you can't. So you can do wall push-up. Just slant on a wall and just push yourself away from the wall. Pushing movement is so important and survival benefit, because if suppose you've fallen down, you're elderly, fallen down on the floor, you need to get up to call for help. So get up, you need to push yourself up. So that's a pushing movement. And the pulling movement, you're doing it all the time, opening a door and all that. And for the pulling movement, you need a strong core, because sometimes I've seen that if I'm not strengthening my core to pull something like a very tight door, you can't, because you're going to go towards the door rather than the door coming to you. So you need a strong core, and to have a strong core, again, there are exercises to do from varying degree of hardness of exercise. And the last thing is your lower limb, the buttock. And yes, sitting and standing up and sitting and standing up, even air squat is good. And walking is very good, and which we all can do. But you have to go to a park or go to a street when there's nobody around and it is safe to do. And then walk. I'm just listening to a podcast by a walking expert, neuroscientist from Ireland, and I'll tell you what extra wisdom I'm going to get from that podcast. So when I cook in the morning, I do two things. Yes, they do one thing. They come to me for some cuddle. And today's Sunday, so they're going on a run. Yeah? Do you remember you're going on a run? So I do two things. I listen to podcasts. I call satsang, meaning spending time with intelligent people, wise people, and gurus on a particular field. Like this, a walking guru I'm going to spend time with virtually. You will never know me, but I will get better in my walking and my jogging, running from his wisdom. And the second thing I do, I reflect on yesterday, what I did yesterday. Good. Have I pissed off anybody? Has anybody make me annoyed? And is any frustration, any failure, anything that didn't go according to plan? Any gratitude that suddenly something miraculously happened which I didn't expect, which I really liked? Any good food? How did I spend my time, my energy, and my money? And who I helped yesterday and who helped me? So this kind of philosophical question I think while I cook, and because there's nobody around, this is my solitude time. Anyway, today is the last day of the year, 31st of December. It's a Sunday, 2023. And make some resolution. Write it down and utter it. Say it loud when you are on your own every day. Don't tell the whole world about your plan, but tell few about your plan. I tell a lot of people because I try to share with as many as possible, because I think in some way when someone is feeling sad or depressed or lacking faith or energy, they might get a little bit of charge from my talking. And I always say that it is not that I know the most. I'm still learning, but whatever I learn, I try to share. Sometimes I even come back to me and tell you that what I shared yesterday, actually I have found some evidence against it. But as of now, we have to have integrity. So as of now, what I believe, I will have to do. in future, if some new evidence comes, I cannot pretend that I was right back then. It's called sunk cost, meaning you believed in a dogma and you are going to stick to the dogma when obviously you can see evidence that my dogma, my belief was not actually correct or at least partially incorrect. So we should have the humility to accept that. And that's what it is. I know some of the professionals, they are so stuck to their views and to the guidelines. And these guidelines are based on evidence. If the evidence change, to transfer that change into a guideline for everybody to follow is biased by many different things, including time factor, because a guideline change will have to go through many hoops and it doesn't take place. So why don't I give the benefit of new evidence to my patients rather than waiting for 7, 8, 10 years? And the second is the lobby. There's a lot of vested interest into guidelines and what treatment patients should get. And quite a number of times the lobby's interest will be get more money by selling their tablets, medicine, injection products. So there's very little effort on investing in research in non-medical approach, natural approach, food approach. And that's sad, because the money wasted in healthcare is in billions. And whereas as a whole, the population is getting worse and worse and worse. And very soon it comes to a point that our progenies, our offsprings, our children and grandchildren will live shorter compared to us, and they will have a more anxious life, and mentally they will not be as happy as our 3 generations before used to be. Every generation will have their own grudges and frustrations and problems, but we are spending a lot more money and becoming a lot less happy and healthy. Think about it, make some resolution. Start with food, movement, mental health, gratitude, and sleep, and move on to other fields like finances, mastery in your job, learning, helping, building communities, making companies, NGOs, and overall help other creatures, animals, humans, plants, earth, air, and all that. And look, this guy loves freedom. He's trying to escape. He's trying to under the door, sensing the air and looking for sound cues, just with the sole intention to find out whether my daughter is awake or not. Should I liberate him? I know what he's going to do. He's going to scratch the door, wake up my daughter. My daughter will be annoyed with me, whereas she doesn't care. She's happy in just herself. She does not need external validation. This is an independent soul. But this one, what's your intention, guy? And there's no point. I'm not going to open this until 8 o'clock. That's the rule. Sunday, 8 o'clock, working days, 6:45. And if you're wondering what is that, that's an Indian broom to kind of clean the floor, dusts. Vacuum cleaner, expensive, not eco-friendly. This is eco-friendly.